Recently, I went on a bit of an interesting watch journey. I was looking for an affordable, luxury-filling watch that I could wear and enjoy as a sort of a daily beater. A watch I could wear to work, not worry too much about, scratch up a little bit, and not be too concerned because I hadn't spent too much money. And on that journey, I was looking at a number of different watches, a number of different style of watches, and I ended up buying an Oris. And that Oris was perfect and fit for purpose. It is exactly what I needed for that particular need. But along that journey, there was a brand that stood out to me, a brand that I already own, and that is Christopher Ward. Christopher Ward is one of my absolute favorite brands. This C60 that I own is incredible. And what I learned along the way trying to find that Oris is that Christopher Ward has a large back catalogue of watches out there. Some recent that have the old Christopher Ward logo on it, but look very similar to the current watches. And then also some older watches in different styles. And some of these Christopher Wards that are out there on the used market are priced really, really well. And I want to share with you my thoughts about perhaps buying a used, previous generation Christopher Ward. Hello, you're watching James. My name is James, you're watching me, and I'm talking about watches. And today, I want to talk about Christopher Ward watches on the used market, in particular the previous generations, prior to the update with the new logo. I want to say a big thank you to Jason from Houtman Watches, a micro brand from here in Australia. He's lent me one of his personal watches from his personal collections, and it's one of the previous generation Christopher Wards. Current case sort of style, but the old logo, the C63. And after looking at this watch of Jason's and looking at the other older watches that are out there on the used market from Christopher Ward, I think there's two categories of used Christopher Wards, or at least that's what I'm seeing. First category is what Jason's watch fits into. It is basically the same watch that is available today, brand new, same case, same style, same hands, same dial, same everything, but with the old Christopher Ward logo, with Christopher Ward actually written out in text onto the dial. So basically, same watch as today, just the different logo. That's number one. Number two is I think there are some old generations of Christopher Ward designs, looks, designs, cases, all also featuring that old Christopher Ward logo. And I think amongst these two categories, there are some amazing bargains out there on the used market. Because I know a lot of people, including myself, do prefer the new logo on the dial. When I bought this watch, I was actually not specifically looking to buy it with the new logo. It was only sort of coming in at the time when I bought this watch. But when I did see it and it had the new logo, I wanted it even more. But prior to seeing this watch and the new logo, I was considering the Dartmouth, which I think is one of the best looking watches from their range. And it had the old logo and it didn't bother me at all. But let me show you Jason's watch next to my watch and just sort of talk through this first category. As you can see, this is the 63 Sealander. Packaging is exactly the same as my C60. What comes with it is exactly the same. The quality of the watch is exactly the same. The case shape is exactly the same. Looking on the Christopher Ward website, comparing the current C63 Sealander and this one of Jason's, it is the same watch, exactly the same watch. The only change that I can see is the logo. Has the same movement, same specifications, same everything, but just a different logo. And I've been looking at this watch online as well. This watch, the same as Jason's with the old logo, and you can buy it 400 Australian dollars cheaper than the current new one from Christopher Ward. Yes, okay, now we're looking at a second-hand watch, so it should drop down a bit in price, but for $400 less, which is a third of the price of the watch, if you're okay with this sort of older logo, which I personally don't mind, especially on this version, this C63, $400 is a big saving. That's another whole watch you could buy with that money. But let me put it side by side with my C60, just to show you what I mean by them being exactly the same. Yes, okay, they are different models, but the dials are the same, they're made the same, the indices have the same quality. You can see when I show you the case sides, it is the same case shape even. Everything about them you can see is the same. I can definitely say that prior to switching over to their new flag sort of logo, they literally just transposed from the Christopher Ward logo to the flag logo and said, hey, these are now our watches, even though they haven't really changed. And of course, now Christopher Ward is going to develop more and more new watches. But when you look into the back catalogue further, when you look to see what watches are out there, they've got some really cool watches that are probably a little bit older, that aren't in the current lineup from Christopher Ward, that you can't say that they're just exactly the same but with a different logo. No, different logo and different watches. But I've had some hands-on experience with a couple of them over the last year, and they've been really nice. And they've been really well priced. I've seen some down as low as 400 Australian dollars. And 400 Australian dollars for an older Christopher Ward, a Swiss-made watch, and albeit maybe an older style, I think that's really good value. If you can find a used Christopher Ward watch out there that is probably one of their previous generations at a really good price, not only are you going to get an amazing watch, but I think you're going to get a bargain. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, if you enjoyed seeing some stuff about Christopher Ward, let me show you my full review of my C60.